It's Nolan.
Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
I dedicated so much time to working hard. I tripled that to submit the fact I don't work a job. My God, I was undervalued, underestimated, misunderstood. Had to sacrifice myself for them Franklin's like making good. Fuck it. Gave myself a budget, balance of funds and some crutches. Sit back and watch the industry when they smile, I can't trust it. Hit a 180, these artists in a 360. I plotted from watching Nipsey, I'm swinging like Jack Dipsy. Who these niggas playing? I got my fam in the shit like the Wans. It's like a wedding, how I vow to exchange with these bands. If I needed your help and I never got it, why you hitting up my line? The result could be catastrophic, yeah. I'm philanthropic, I figure fraudulent seeping through. Niggas can't read, so I can't expect them to read the room. Hard to smoke, it's really just feeding fuel. Fishing, I could feed a fool. Try me, you gon' eat from out a feeding tube. I played humble and never got what I wanted. When I start talking cash, the money just start coming. The laws of attraction ain't even outside, but I've been active. Not to mention the rapping, my pen game's scholastic. Southern underground, wavy is an ultrasound. Disrespect us, you get crescent kicked up in your mouth. Bow to my presence, my presidents take precedence. Nas told me hip-hop died, I gave him the EpiPen. I control all of this shit, autonomous. Hacking niggas like Shaq or Anonymous. Y'all been sleeping on me. I'm on the island by myself like an ottoman, y'all. Don't make me fuck up your perception like Oculus, y'all. Freak styles like Akinelli. Nothing y'all can tell me. Thumbs up to murder, Fonzarelli. Buzzing hot as Nelly. Y'all can't compare me to these 2K niggas. I be drilling in your queen like the UK niggas.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. This video is not going to be very long, but we're going to get into this whole Fivio Foreign, Jim Jones, Nas situation. Now, I honestly thought this whole Jim Jones, Nas thing was over with. Jim Jones kind of had moved on. He started a podcast. You know, I thought the whole objective was for him to like use that Nas thing to get the people to sign up for the podcast, get subscribe to the channel, and then he would pivot off. But he was recently having a conversation with Fivio Foreign, and he decided to rehash the conversation, which is very interesting because Fivio Foreign actually worked with Nas. If I'm not mistaken, he has a feature on Nas' Grammy-winning album, King's Disease. Is that the first one? Yep, as a matter of fact, it is. King's Disease released in 2020, got the best rap album in 2021, and Fivio Foreign is featured on a bonus song called Spicy alongside A$AP Ferg. So the closest Fivio Foreign will ever get to a Grammy in his life is through Nas, and he'd rather sit up on a podcast with Jim Jones and undermine this man's lyrical contributions to the game. Wow. Now that's crazy. Now, of course, we know the conversation around this whole Jim Jones Nas thing is not necessarily about who's better. Jim Jones is really looking at this from the standpoint of who's more influential in terms of fashion, in terms of reaching the generation behind, because Ballin' at its peak was 2006, 2007. So it would be artists who came out in the 2010s and afterwards who may have been influenced. Because we do know the sound of New York definitely shifted after Dipset and their reign and their top, right? Because, or their time at the top, I should say, because they were actually very much known for like trying to acclimate their sound into like a Southern bop. They would get like Southern bops or their version of a bounce, you know what I'm saying? Like get crunk music and stuff like that. So they were definitely responsible for some of those Southern collaborations, bringing Wayne into the fold. They would do songs with T.I. They would do songs with Jeezy, all this type of stuff, at least in that 2005-ish time period. Because once those artists really like blew the fuck up out of the water, they wouldn't go back to working with them no way. But nonetheless, I guess Fivio Foreign is speaking from the perspective of a kid that was growing up on Jim Jones and the whole rock star look and the belts and the, V-neck and all that shit that they had going on. So let's go ahead and pull up this clip and get into Fivio speaking to Jim. All right, the headline says Fivio Foreign tells Jim Jones he doesn't know any songs or verses from Nas outside of One Mic, even though he did a track with him, and says he grew up on Chief Keef, Dipset, and Meek Mill's music. Very interesting set of influences.
Can I just say my? All right, let me just say one thing. What I feel. I grew up with niggas like Sosa, Gino, and I'm not saying that the man is wacky. He's not a legend. He's been out for years. So I got a song with the nigga, and I got a song on the album. And the album got a Grammy, but I can't sit there and say a Nas bar to you or a song. I like One Mic, or like a song that's like.
But I can.
It's just not me.
So, but I understand. So that's what I want the people to know. Like, but I can, cause Nas was my era. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Nas was my era. Like I came up fucking with Nas. Like we knew. I know.
I need Jim to get that fucking loogie about his throat.
The Nas shit. You heard? But moving forward, I started a whole new era and a whole new genre and a generation of people that you did. But I just be doing me. But I'm just telling you how that was. So now that we on that type of shit. So who were some of your biggest influences as rappers coming up? Like who made you feel like you wanted to become a rapper? Who was some of the people that you wanted to dress like? Like let me hear some of that, because that's that's the essence of what makes a nigga become a basketball player. What makes a nigga become like? Who was that for you?
I'm gonna keep it real. I was infatuated with Chief Keef in Chicago. The shit was the
shout out
shit.
to Chief.
The
Shout out to
shit
Chief
was so.
Keef.
It was just like. It was crazy. I liked the Meek Mills. Pain was crazy. I loved Dipset. Jim
Thank
Jones, Joel Santana.
Thank you.
All right, so that is Fivio Foreign saying he grew up on Chief Keef, excuse me, which I get it, because a lot of if you pay attention to the New York drill era, they basically took the Chicago drill thing and relocated it to New York. So I'm not necessarily surprised by that, but also for that to be your primary influence, hey man, do you. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of people been jumping on Fivio Foreign's back, kicking his back in, which I'm not too surprised by. But what I am surprised by is I thought that Fivio Foreign was a lot younger than what the people are saying. So in this post here, this guy, the boom bap hip hop vinyl historian, says Fivio Foreign is 35 years old. Told Jim Jones to his face, "You are better than Nas, and I can't name a Nas bar, but I like One Mic." Nas dropped Godson, which is the album that came from, when Fivio was 12. Street's Disciple, which wasn't all that great of an album if you ask me, when Fivio was 14. Hip Hop is Dead, when Fivio was 16. Nas put Fivio on King's Disease. You know, unfortunately, sometimes you look out for a motherfucker, you want to extend that olive branch to the new generation, and you put them on your Grammy-winning album that the song was a bonus. Nigga didn't even have to be there. And they sell you out for proximity to another nigga that they think is cooler than you. Ain't that some shit? But let's get to this 35 years old thing, because I find this to be very interesting, because, again, I thought Fivio Foreign was like maybe 28, 29. That would make a lot more sense. But 35? That would mean that Fivio Foreign is in my group. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might not think about it, but your boy is in that 35 age range. So I remember when One Mic came out. I remember when Godson came out. I remember when Street's Disciple came out. I remember when Hip Hop is Dead came out. Hip Hop is Dead, that was actually an album that I bumped quite frequently in high school because I didn't like Street's Disciple. You know, he had a couple joints on there that I fucked with, but hip hop is dead. You know, he was working with Kanye at the time when Kanye was scorching hot and lacing everybody with beats, doing hooks, giving features out. That was very influential. A lot of that album was actually either shaped by Kanye or what's my dude name, man? Kanye's cousin. Fuck, I always forget this nigga name. Was it Devo Springsteen? Can't remember homie name, man. And then you got, I think he had like Tony Williams on that motherfucker too. Like these were all people that were associated with Ye that were on that album. Not to mention there was some Aftermath influence on there. I think he had a song with Game on that motherfucker. So you know, whatever. And I was in Atlanta bumping that motherfucker. I'm like, if you from New York, how did that miss you? You know what I'm saying? Black Republican with Jay-Z, wasn't that on there too? That song was a little underwhelming for the big Jay-Z Nas collaboration, but it was still a big ass moment. So that's a little strange to me. But if Fivio heard these records and wasn't influenced to like dig deeper into Nas' discography based on whatever type of lifestyle he was aspiring to, because honestly, if we're gonna keep it all the way a buck, by the time these projects from Nas came out, he was no longer like Nas the Hustler, right? Nas the Hustler was on, you know, like Illmatic. He was talking about, you know, selling loose cracks and shit like that, and being in the pissy stairway and you know, monkey flipping rappers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like, that was grimy Nas on Illmatic. If Fivio Foreign never endeavored to actually go check that music out, he probably wasn't aspiring to that, because that was the age that he was looking at the hustlers of his time period, right? You go to It Was Written, you still get remnants of that, but then there's a more pop, well, what they called pop. If I Ruled the World, they tried to consider pop at that time. Now it's one of the fucking greatest hip hop songs of all time, and when you listen to it, it just reminds you of good music. It don't sound pop at all. But if he didn't go back and listen to that music, I could see why Nas didn't actually click for him in that way. But it doesn't really make sense to come out here and say stuff like that as a 35-year-old rapper who hasn't accomplished nothing even in the ballpark of what Nas has done. His career is more so like a Jim Jones. And I don't even think Fivio has done what Jim Jones has done. So I think he should have sat that out, especially because Jim didn't even try to lead him in that direction. He wanted to make it known. Weird activity, playing yourself. And Fivio Foreign is on the decline. Like, nigga, ever since that whole Mace situation where you was like, you know, he signed you for $5,000 and you was trying to get your pub back and all this crazy shit, niggas been looking at you kind of strangely. Then Mace came out and said, "Nah, I ain't signing for no $5,000. I did give him $5,000, but I was also taking up all the expenses. I was also taking him to all the labels, trying to get him an additional deal to get him some more money. I wasn't gonna pay for everything." But the way that Fivio positioned it, it was that Mace fucked him over or something like that. But honestly, Fivio just didn't understand the business, and therefore he misinterpreted what was going on. So, I mean, the biggest moments that dude has really had has been on other people's shit. Being on Pop Smoke records, being on that record with Nicki Minaj, being on the record with Nas, being on the Donda feature. But when you go to his solo music, if you ask me, the shit is all butt. So he should have sat that out. We were past this conversation. Nobody was really still existing within that realm of the subject matter. He just decided to come out and cape for Jim Jones, which, again, probably speaks to his mind state. Him and Jim Jones seem like they're much more aligned in terms of how they operate, how they move. Clearly, they seem to be friends versus how him and Nas are more so associates in a one-time collaboration thing. I don't think Nas is gonna reach back out. So, just goes to show, man, you could give niggas all the opportunities in the world, put them on your Grammy-winning album, and he's still gonna sail you up the river for a nigga that ain't gonna do shit for him but smile in his face, give him daps and hugs. But maybe that's better for some people, you know, than actual accomplishments in your field. I don't know. Again, strange. Again, weird. Again, confusing. But I never took Fivio to be that good of an artist or to be all that smart. So I can't necessarily say that this comes as a shock. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Become an insider. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more to survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.